back again.
What happened there?
I don't know. We got dumped out. They were expecting us on Saturday night, and we're on Sunday night tonight.
Piffed us off.
What are you eating? What are you eating?
I'm eating dried haddock. I had to fight a whale for it in Iceland. And then a seal attacked me. But no, that was tasty. Not well. No.
Is it like their version of pork scratchings? Is it really good?
Well, I wouldn't say pork scratchings are any good, but that's all right. It's tasty enough.
Oh.
Aye. So we've been on my holly bulbs. We're going away, travel.
You were. I actually thought you had a photograph of the guy we're going to be talking about later on tonight behind you, but the Seven Towers whiskey drinker just looks a bit like him, doesn't he? Yeah, he does.
Maybe.
Does a
yeah.
bit.
So no, it was over in Iceland doing a bit of recceing about and touring and whatnot. Nice place. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You've never been to a place like it, I doubt, then? No?
No, I don't. Is there a place like it? I don't know.
Think there is.
No, it's a super place. But we'll talk about more about that later on, what's going on over there. I'm going to pour myself a little drink. I have a bottle of Ardent American, which I had kicking about. So I'm going to open that and have a wee swallow of this. Because lots of people rave about this.
Do they?
Oh, yes. Ardent American's held in very high esteem. Because they do lots of weird and different things and really high quality new whiskey. But yeah, so what have you been at yourself?
I was at the theatre twice. I was at Theatre at the Mill seeing Oh Holy Night, which was quite good. Michael Cameron sort of musical with a Christmas theme, obviously, of Oh Holy Night, and it was good. And then I was at the Lyric last night, and it was fantastic there too as well. It was the Nightmare Before Christmas, and it was quite good because there was lots of tongue-in-cheek woke jokes in them. The woke wouldn't like, and I quite liked them there.
No, was that a musical or a pantomime or what?
No, it wasn't a pantomime. It was more a drama. There was a wee bit of singing and music in it, and quite what you would call ditties. Where you listen to the song, and if you listen to it, it's really, really funny.
You do know that I think the only heterosexual musical is Rocky IV. All the rest of them are aimed at a certain demographic.
Whatever you think. Whatever you think.
No,
you might be right. You might be right, but you're mostly wrong.
I don't think so.
Well, that's like me saying whiskey's just for men.
No, you can't say that. That'd be very, very sexist.
I know.
It's all inclusive. Everyone can enjoy it.
I know. So is musical theatre. Don't think it is. You have to go to see it.
Yeah. You can report back to me. I'll let you be our correspondent for musical theatre.
I know. I love it. There you go. So listen, we better say hello to some people tonight before we start. William McClanahan was asking me, "Are we on?" Yes, we are on. That's why we weren't on. Sean McClanahan, good evening to you. Linda Cox saying good evening as well.
Evening.
Yeah.
Aye. So everybody okay? Hope everybody's getting geared up for Christmas. I'm busy working away. I'm doing bits and pieces, bits and bobs. So yeah, talk about that in a minute. Well, I think we'll do a bit of news because we've got quite a lot of stuff to go through tonight, Justin. Quite a lot.
We do.
So we'll do first up. There's some big news for some local drink producers, whiskey guys. One international thing. There's big news all around, really. The R&R Distillery, who's a little distillery that most people don't know anything about, mainly because it's on an industrial estate, have had plans passed to build an extension, probably a bonding house or a bonded warehouse. So they have had that. Now, these guys sort of quietly doing bits and pieces behind the scenes, and then they got sort of thrust into the limelight a couple of weeks ago. Oh, thanks very much, Milliam. They got thrust into the limelight a couple of weeks ago because these are the guys who are behind Jean-Claude Van Damme, the new face of Irish whiskey. So I don't know whether the two things are related. I assume they probably are. But yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme, the R&R Distillery, have got approval to expand. Don't really know what the expansion is going to entail, but they have it passed.
Is this an artist's impression of what it's going to look like that you sent me through? Is it that?
No,
No, no.
Justin, stop thinking, because this is the problem. That's nothing to do with it.
All right.
No. So they are an artist already going to have put in plans for an extension. So good for them. I hope everything goes forward for them.
Right.
Mm.
Where are they based, Morty?
Up the Castlereagh Road is it? What's the
Where
name of it?
Cantor on Cochrane used to be around
No,
there?
what's the name of the industrial estate up there? Is it Mayfair? Something like that. Mayfair Industrial Estate,
Right.
something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but that's where they are.
All right.
So yeah, up
Very
there.
good.
Now, other local guys around Belfast, Drinksology, have announced a multi-million-pound plan to develop over the next 3 years. Now, at the minute, they employ 50 people, and they're well known for their designing bottles, designing all that kind of stuff and whatnot. But they actually have their own line of products, including the Kirker Greer range, which is kind of, you don't hear a huge amount about it at the minute, but I do know that they are going to be whiskey bonders rather than a distillery. But they have big plans. I think it's up near the crematorium up there, up near Roselawn, is where they're going to be doing their whiskey bonding and whatnot, and bottling, as far as I'm aware. I'm not 100% sure of all the plans. I did get talking to Stephen one time, and he was telling me about their plans. But Kirker Greer, I imagine going forward, and you'll hear and see an awful lot more of them as they start to do this rollout, this multi-million-pound program.
So loads of these old names are coming back with a vengeance now, more or less.
Well, it's a no-brainer, really, if you think about it. Because that bottle there. If you think about it, it kind of got bought in heritage straight away. You turn around, you see an old whiskey brand, you buy into the heritage of it, you replicate some of the stuff that they were doing, and then you can turn around and go, well, we're an old brand. I mean, Dunvilles have done this with great success. McConnell's are doing it, and McConnell's are doing great things. I'm really looking forward to seeing their distillery when it opens, because I think it'll be an absolute cracker. Look, the drawings and the pictures of it look absolutely amazing. So yeah,
It does look a bit like the crematorium.
that's the wrong one. You've
All
decided,
right.
you've decided to think again, Justin. This is
All
not
right.
what you're supposed to do.
All right.
Yeah. So the Kirker and Greer are planning to do their big things. Now that Justin has been chomping at the bit to show this picture, now I can actually tell you what it is, because Justin doesn't know. The drinks giant Camus, who are famous for cognac, are teaming up with a Chinese Beiju producer, and are going to be opening up a whiskey distillery in China. Now they're going to pump $30 million into this, and the Juki GUQI distillery. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing that right or not. They say they're going to be producing the world's most aromatic whiskey and use new techniques and processes. Are going to make world-class whiskey with Chinese characteristics. So it'll be interesting to see what that is, because they'll kind of have a free reign. And these guys, I mean, Baiju's Sochu Baiju is the biggest selling spirit in the world. Now, 30 million in China is a drop in the ocean, but we already know that the Nine Rivers distillery,
Multiple ones planned.
well, they have the Nine Rivers distillery, which will be the biggest whiskey producing distillery in the world, and they've already cut turf on that. They're ready to go, so it will be now that there's a big cognac producer, and I don't think people really appreciate. Lots of people drink cognac, but just not necessarily. It's not trendy. It's a bit like Armagnac or Calvados. Lots of people drink it, but just not in the vast quantities they do with other spirits. But as it moves over into China, and there's more recognition of it, I mean, loads of Chinese guys are drinking whiskey now.
Marnie, can I ask a question? Can I think? Is this Sunday?
It is, yes.
Why is Kit asking that? He must have had a heavy weekend, has he?
He didn't have a lot to drink on Friday night. Now we'll get to that in a wee second.
Right.
So we will. But yeah, so that's a couple of more big players moving into the whiskey sphere. and doing it over in the Far East. Because China's going to be a big market. India is going to be a big market too for people who produce here and export. But I think China, you can see it being lots of new distilling, which is going to be coming online. So that's a good one. Now, moving on. This is why Kit didn't have a lot to drink on Friday night, because there's a new release in the Friend at Hand, and it's this one, the Silent Valley Friend at Hand single cask that was released on Saturday, and quite a few people were a bit shocked that this came because it kind of caught us in the shop on the hop a little bit, because it was arrived and we knew it was coming, but we didn't know an awful lot about it. And then it just came in. There we go. Get it on the shelves and we'll get it shipped out. Right? We kind of need to tell people. If you know Willie Jack, that's kind of the way it works. Right? Get it done now. We'll do it now. Do it now. So out it came. Now, there's 3 very small casks, 3 firkins, and it produced 108 bottles total. There's a couple of them have been opened and drank and whatnot. There's also, out of the initial release, there is at the minute only going to be 50 of these sold. And the reason there's only going to be 50 sold is because Wally keeps them for the tasting room. So going forward, he'll have an array of single casks for the tasting room in the Friend at Hand. There's only going to be 50 of these sold. As it stands, it may expand slightly, but it'll not. There certainly won't be 100 bottles of this released into the wild. There's 50 going out. Some people were giving off a little bit because of the price. I can tell you now, it's not stopped people from buying them. You have to remember, in the Friend, there's kind of 2 avenues of how this stuff can be used. Number 1, it can be sold over the counter. Number 2, it can be sold in the tasting rooms as part of like a single cask tasting, if you like. So you're going to pay a premium for it. You just are. Those who were lucky enough, and this wasn't advertised, but those who came early, the first 20 bottles got one of these. A miniature.
So they can taste it without
opening the bottle.
Yeah.
It's a very complicated mash bill. It's mostly oats. It's done in bags. We know what Brendan and Cologne are like. It's all micro stuff. So it's 9 bags of oats, a bag of peated malt, a bag of malt ale, a bag of rye, and so on. It's then aged in a Cabernet Sauvignon firkins. 4 years old. It's bottled at 53.87% alcohol. I haven't opened my miniature yet. I will do in a wee minute. But yeah, this is a very rare bottle, and that's why the price is what it is. But if you want one of these, you'll need to be at the Friend at Hand first thing on Monday morning, because there's not that many of them left.
Right.
Over the course of Saturday, a lot of them went out the door. On Saturday. I can't tell you exactly how many because I don't know.
So seriously popular then? Seriously?
Cologne's Cologne. Everybody loves Cologne. So yeah, it's, if you really want one, again, the shop, the way it works, you walk in the door, you buy it, and you take it with you. You don't do online, and they don't ship. So if you want a bottle, you really, really need to be sharp and get your rear in gear, as they say. You know. But that's the Cologne single cask release down at the Friend at Hand. Now, another release last Monday. The eagerly anticipated Old Cumber was released last Monday and sold out in minutes. £55 a bottle, totally different blended experience. This is a different from the first 2 releases that were really quite small releases. This is a different animal. They've taken it and changed the flavour profile. But it sold out, a limited release. I think it's, I think I'm right in saying that there'll be a more general release coming very soon. But this sold out really quick.
No, we've tried that. You is that the authentic taste of whiskey in the 1950s and the 1960s?
Well, the one that initially was released, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was particularly, but when I was at the Whiskey Social, I got to try. Yeah, I'd actually tried it before. The new blend. Um, it's a lot. It's got that sort of earthy, sort of rustic, rancio note is the actual description of it. It's that quite earthy note. It's changed its flavor profile. Uh, so then it is in that regard, it's a lot more like a sort of 50s, 60s bottling. So yeah, this is a different whiskey, and I'm actually pleased that they haven't gone the route that most people go these days and sweeten and lighten the flavour of it. They've actually sort of taken it back. I think people will be surprised by this. It'll not be what they thought it was going to be. But anyway, Marty, is it common for small taster to be given so the bottle can remain unopened? If the bottle is highly collectible, then sometimes they do this. They did it with the likes of the Middleton Pearl. They did it with J.J. Corey, The Chosen. And they did it with this. The problem, it's never a problem when you get given a free miniature. When you get given one of these, the idea is you can open it up, have a little drinky poo, and enjoy it without touching your bottle, and you can have your bottle sitting on a shelf. The thing is, these then become very collectible as well. So people just hang on to these as well. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Aye. So again, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But
Great question in there. A couple of weeks, we're told, and there'll be a general release of the old Cumber.
I think so, yeah. But Eckmanville have a habit of telling people they're going to do something and going, "Oh yeah, it'll be here in a couple of weeks." Tumbleweed rolls down the road. Any word you do it? No. Oh, it'll be another couple of months. All right, okay, then on. So when we see it, we'll see it. When we don't see it, we don't. Put it like this, they're never in any great rush down there. They don't seem to be anyway. But well, they're never in any great rush until it came to the first launch of Old Cumber, where they basically just run the labels off on a desktop printer to stop somebody else getting something to market. And that was the same as happened with the Dunville's bottling a while back. So yeah, who knows? They kind of keep the cards close to their chest down there, but they're the greatest guys.
There's Kit getting a bit worried. Have I found a co-conspirator when you take it around? We did it. We don't normally miss a show, but we might have to this time because
No. Well, Marty's heading over to the States again very soon. At the end of the month. But should we never miss a show? We're always on live. We always go
Maybe
on.
a day earlier, a day late, or it might be pre-recorded. We tend not to miss shows, Kit.
No, we tend not to miss a big lot. Yeah, well, I'm heading away again for a wee while. But we'll try. I do have a road trip planned, so I might have to skip out on that week whenever we're away, or pre-record something or whatever. But yeah, we'll try and get something. We'll always try and keep you informed. Kat,
Keep you satisfied. Keep you satisfied.
Keep Kat satisfied. He was giving off like stink yesterday. He was I think mainly because he didn't get a drink on a Friday night. But no, good crack. Another, we'll say not necessarily highly anticipated release. The Devil's Keep 2023 release has been launched at the Craft Irish Whiskey. I have to say, the whole presentation of this thing looks amazing. If you pull it up there, going through the site.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean the presentation of that stuff. I can't say anything about that because it always looks fabulous. I've seen the bottles, I've seen the box, I've actually tasted the whiskey at a time, and the whiskey's fantastic. But, and there's a big but, it doesn't give you a price, but it gives you, I think it's $6,000 a bottle.
And there's only 333 bottles?
Yeah, it's $6,000 a bottle. It's something like that. It doesn't give you a price here. So it's one of those ones. if you have to ask, you can't afford it, kind of thing. You know, I would need your money, Justin.
That's like the time I went to buy the handbag and the second thoughts.
Aye, but no,
Yeah, they have the price inside the handbag. You know, by law they have the price, and you open the handbag up, and you look in, and you find this little label, and it says like £3,000, and then you think it's just not worth it.
yeah, I can imagine. Whereas she went to buy you, one of them, what you might call them, lollipops, a cornetto, and thought, oh, he's not worth either.
I know.
But no, honestly, the whole thing about the craft Irish whiskey stuff, the whiskey's superb. And then the stuff that I've tasted from them is top drawer. The presentation's second to none, but the price,
That's actually quite funny. It's number 333, the Devil's Half Brother, because the Devil's 666. Yeah.
Don't be saying that about the Craft Irish Whiskey Club, or the Craft Irish Whiskey, whatever it is they call themselves these days. Don't be saying that. But no, as I say, I don't think there'll be too many people hanging off the edge of their seats to get it. But if that's your thing, if you want to spend your money, go on ahead. But it's now out. It's been released. There's another thing that came up. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago the Middleton Ferrets, whatever it's called, beautiful blue bottle. I think I have the Ferret du Tronquet. I think it is something like that. That's how it's pronounced. If you want to bring that up, yeah. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, this is a non-age statement blend from Middleton that's aged for a part. I can't remember off the top of my head. In casks from some forest in France. Now, as far as I know, the forest's still there. It's not like the last tree in the forest that was before it was cut down made this cask. There's nothing particularly rare about this other than it's Middleton in a blue bottle, and it was €5,000 a bottle. Right, we did this a couple of weeks ago, Justin. You look surprised.
Did we? I don't remember the bottle being green, but anyway.
Well, it's kind of a bluey colour, I think. Well,
can I see any better than that one? Hold on, I'll bring it up full screen. Is it blue? Maybe it is blue.
It's kind of like a blue as well, greeny blue. Well, the thing is, they've been recalled because yes, they'll get Jim trying to be able for it to do Tonquet. That's because he used to work for Iceland. Jim used to work for Iceland, so that's why he's able to speak French so well, or sorry, type French so well. Anyway, this is £5,000 a bottle, right? Do you know what they've done? They've recalled them because you see the wee thing around the bit of paper, bit of stuff around the neck of the bottle. They've used the wrong glue and it's popping off. They didn't use good enough glue to hold it together. That's very good. They've recalled them. I mean,
so let me think here.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be worth more if you kept it and you didn't send it back, or worth less?
I'm going to say send it back, because you see, anytime you have a bottle, and something leaves that bottle, or it's unchanged, or whatever, it kills the value of it in the secondary market.
Okay, all right.
Get it sent back, get it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
But they've recalled them from the. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
There's Michael thinks all this Ferret the Tonquet makes a cologne bottle seem like a real bar again.
Well, the thing about it is the friend of hand cologne bottle. I honestly, there's probably only 50 of them ever going to make it to market. So if people are cologne collectors, the price of it's going to go through the roof. And if
did you see a bubble appear in front of your face there?
There is a bubble appear in front of my face. What happened there?
I don't know, but I'm not doing it. It's new.
That's not good.
That's a new one in me. Give us a thumbs up, a heart, and even an evil face. I am not controlling that at all. Honestly.
I don't know what happened.
Look.
Unreal.
They keep on messing with this, you see. They keep on messing with it. That's weird.
No, I don't know what
that is weird. Of course, that could have been embarrassing if your bum had been the thumb.
Jim's saying, go on, Marty, tell them what you did. We didn't do anything. There was a bottle of the Forêt du Tronquet. I would have to get Jim to pronounce it properly for us. sold the other day, but it was definitely a team effort.
Uh-huh.
But we managed to sell one the other day. Fuck. Pardon my French. Getting this wax off is proving a bit difficult. But no, there was a bottle sold the other day.
Is this a school night? I thought the kids didn't go to school tomorrow because the teachers are always in strike. It's a
Oh,
devil's work. Marty's blowing bubbles. Yes, it
I don't
did.
know what happened there.
I don't know, because you give us likes and thumbs up all the time, but they never don't normally appear on screen.
Look, I've been injured. Look, I'm blooding. I've been injured by a
Pour some,
cologne.
pour some alcohol on it. It'll get your fat. I've got some iodine here.
Oh, that's handy. No, I've been injured by a cologne. I'm going to ban for Compo off, Brendan. But no, there was a bottle of this was sold the other day by a collector came in to buy one of those bottles that we have at the frame. Yeah, it was. That's nice, and I hope it goes well for him. But it's just after it, we were told nope, have to be recalled because they are. The labels is coming off. I can't get that bloody thing open.
Is it turning on the neck? It sounds like it.
It seems to be, yeah. But anyway, now celebrity whiskey of the week. Here we go.
There's Sean saying he cuts himself in those bastards all the time. I know.
Anyway,
recall the miniatures. Yes, I know. It's funny.
All right. Anyway, celebrity whiskey of the week. Ricky Gervais has bought into the Ellers Farm Distillery, in North Yorkshire. Now, there is a bit of, we all know the celebrity jumping on bandwagon of the bandwagon celebrity stuff. But you want to bring up the Ellers Farm Distillery?
Yep. We see.
This is a nice little distillery up in North Yorkshire. North Yorkshire, isn't it? Anyway, he's invested. It doesn't say the press release didn't say how much he bought into it, but it did say that it was a major investment. So I assume he's put a fair whack of money into it. The one thing about this distillery is it seems that their ethos is very much sustainability. They've been carbon neutral from day one. They want to stay that way. They have a profit sharing scheme with their staff. They have so on. It's a big sort of thing for them. They seem to have this ethos of trying to be all green and kissy cuddly, which is fair enough, and it seems to sort of go in with Ricky Gervais's sort of ethos. I'll be honest, I think Ricky Gervais is hilarious. The time he ripped the piss out of all those ones at the Golden Globes Awards was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
That was funny, but
it was
anything
brilliant.
else he ever did, I never liked, because he always reminded me of a boss from Highlander, and I just thought it was bizarre. I thought he would actually.
No, I think he's very funny, but he also has very staunch beliefs about certain things, which is fair enough. I mean, I don't mind people having their beliefs. Obviously, I don't mind people having beliefs and stuff, but he's putting his money where his mouth is. But here's the thing. He has a bit of a track record of saying things about whiskey. He is a whiskey drinker, and he's also a whiskey collector, because during COVID, he popped up about he had his, what was it, his COVID survival kit, he put it down to, which was a bottle of Dingle. So he's pulled that up. So this was, he tweeted this out. I think he's quite active on Twitter or whatever you call it these days. So this was his lockdown survival kit. Now, Ricky Gervais is a big time star, and he's basically give a huge plug for Dingle, which was quite nice of him. And he also says that he has, I like so many, and I can't remember all the names. Oh, sorry. I love whiskey, and I have an amazing collection, but it's just too dangerous to have more than one or two. So again, he's turning around and saying, well, I don't have many more than a couple. I think what he means by that is if he had more than a couple and he jumped onto Twitter, he might actually tell a lot of people what he actually thought of them. And he's already done that on the Golden Globes, I think. So yeah, good on him. Good on him. Yeah, so he's invested in that, which is big for them. I mean, that'll be a huge boost for them. I mean, the fact that everybody knows Ricky Gervais, and we're talking about it, and everybody else is going to be talking about it, and certainly over in the States and whatnot. So yeah, good on him. So next up, Financial Times have reported. I think it was. I don't know whether this was actually their report. I think they were quoting it from someone else. About investment bank Noble and Co. said analysis based on 8,500 transactions of fine and rare single malts, defined at more than £1,000 per bottle, showed a 7% drop in sales, or 7% drop in value this year. I know loads of people don't like the collectible market, and they don't like that trading market and that sort of thing. The bottles at £1,000, they're not really designed to be drunk. There's so many people collect whiskey.
But I thought the high end was going to be immune from stuff like that. The real high end.
The highest, what they say in this is it's the bottles that are £1,000 and more have experienced a drop of 7% to 27 million in the months. Now, that was based on 8,500 transactions. But if you go down to the hyper bottles, the really, really expensive bottles, they haven't really dropped. And by that, they mean the Macallan bottle, 1926 Macallan bottle that sold a couple of weeks ago for a record £2.1 million. The highest of high-end stuff very seldom ever comes down. But the premium things are slowing. We can see it in the auction sites. You can. Some bottles over the £1,000 are not meeting the reserves, which it's just one of these things. They say it's down to inflation. Inflation over here, inflation in China, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to say that people shouldn't necessarily panic sell. If you have these bottles, don't be in any great panic sell them, because it'll come back. People like collecting whiskey, and it is a very collectible thing to do. I have a nice collection myself, but for me, it's a little bit more about investment and that kind of thing, rather than having a full collection of stuff,
Yeah.
But there are loads of people that collecting is all they're interested in,
Quite a lot of info in that article. It's good that it's free to read online. There's the link there if you want to read that yourself, because it's imagine it makes an interesting read from what I've skimmed through it.
Well, there's Jamie Jameson coming on there and saying it's a buyer's market for now. Exactly. If the problem is, at the minute, there's reserves on things, so they don't sell. So those sort of premium bottles, you'll probably not be able to get them, because at the minute people are not selling. But those reserves will drop, or they'll skip out, and at which point then it'll be a buyer's market. So I'll probably leave it to maybe just slightly after Christmas before, and you'll see probably a significant drop for a few months, and then it'll start to pick back up again, I would have thought. But same as all this kind of stuff, you can't really be sure. But it is down 7%, which, if you're buying a bottle at £1,000, 7%'s a significant whack of money,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, buyer's market, keep an eye out. You might be able to pick up stuff that is a bit of a bargain. If you have a few quid about, probably all right. The stuff that's really, really desirable, the really sort of ultra desirable stuff, will always keep its value. I mean, that's just what they do, So yeah, that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Now, hang on, that's a good angle you have me out there now, Justin. That was nice.
I don't control the angles anymore. They changed them a while back too, which doesn't make it easy. But there you go. Where are we heading tonight?
I forgot that because I've opened the cologne, I forgot it went from 46 up to 53. So, aye, just give me a wee second. Oh, that's nice. that's very nice. That's that's a very interesting whiskey. Yeah, that's a very strange whiskey. Because it's made mainly with oats, it can only go down as an Irish whiskey. So it's not a pot still. It's not a what you've got. You're right there, Justin. Aye.
I'm just looking to see if I can put a thumbs up in front of me or in front of you. I don't even know where that come from. I have no idea.
Well, we can worry about it after we do the show. That'll probably be the best time to worry about it.
But we can't really, because if once the show's not live, you can't do it then.
Aye.
All right. What's next?
Well, it was Irish Whiskey Awards this week. And there was lots of winners in the categories. Now, we will go through them here. So, where did I put the list of winners? Bring up. There was... have you talked about the cologne friend at hand? This one.
He's just tried it, Peter. He's just tried it.
This is what's in this glass. Maybe all hate you. I'm sorry. But anyway. Now, are we going to go into the words, or are you still thinking about with the thing?
There we are.
Now,
there we are.
This we're not doing these in order because it's just the thing about it. So this is Jack Ryan, 5-year-old Shelbourne. This is the single malt winner of the single malt 11-year-old or less category. Good for them. That's Jack Ryan's not one of these brands that sort of pops out, but that stands out. But there you go. I suppose it's a nice enough presentation, really, is it? What do you think of that?
I think that's good. I think it's strong. Shelbourne, is that related to the hotel or
yes.
Mm-hmm. The Shelbourne Hotel's just been sold or is in the process of being sold, I do believe.
I mean, I know they have the extensive Tomas works down there and they have the extensive whiskey portfolio, so it's nice that they have their own thing. It's a bit strange that they went for Jack Ryan. I'm not casting aspersions on anybody, but I'm just saying it's a nice thing that they've done, you know. But
and it's as well a check. There's other messages that aren't appeared here. Peter Gabriel's asking how's the Iceman? That's you he's talking about, I would imagine.
Aye, must be. Right, let's get on to the next one.
Let me see.
Now, Michael, new peated whiskey of the year. Michael, our friends down there, good on them. Let's get over to the next one. Writer's Tears, the blended whiskey limited release, and this is the Japanese cask one, which I've tried a couple of times, and yeah, it's a great one. I'll be honest with you, Writer's Tears are a good brand. That's the only problem is the bottle's too bloody tall, but that's a problem with the likes of the Silky as well. But as I say, good on them. That's a nice award for them. Glad to see them getting that. Let's get on to the next one. At Writer's Tears again. New blended whiskey, non-age statement. This is the Writer's Tears Double Oak. And again, I like Writer's Tears. I do. I've always liked that. And in terms of a collectible, that full set of collectible yearly releases that they do, that's massively undervalued. That'll soar in value at some point in the not too distant future.
But are all these awards not mostly for drinking whiskies then?
What do you mean?
Well, if it soars in value and people have read it, I've seen the award and consumed it, it's going to make them even rarer and even more expensive in the secondary market, isn't it?
But that's the collectible yearly release one. That's not nothing to do with those two.
Okay.
So it's not. No. So there's McConnell's. McConnell's the 5-year-old sherry. Loads of people love that. I'd be honest. I actually prefer just the ordinary blend, just the bourbon cask one. I thought sure it was nice, but I just still prefer the 42% blend one. I think the presentation of those guys, the bottle that they bring out, and it's beautiful, and they're going to do really big things, and good on them because they're putting a huge amount of work in. But yeah, McConnell's nice tribute to them, nice award for them. Next up. Aye, single cask whiskey, 11 years and younger. Went to the Celtic cask down at the Celtic whiskey shop, guys. Um, all of those bottlings, people always rave about them. Yeah, so good on them too. They continue with the high quality that everybody knows that they do. So next up is Tullamore Dew. This was a bit of a shock to me, a bit of a surprise one. This was the best single malt whiskey, 12 to 14. Was Tullamore Dew 14. I was racking my brains to think, have I had that? And the fact I was racking my brains to think, have I had that, sort of tells me that if I have, I didn't think an awful lot of it. So Tullamore Dew is a bit of a strange brand for me because I always think it's very light in estuary. It should take a cask better than it does, but it doesn't. I kind of like the ordinary blend. The Tullamore Dew Phoenix was one of the releases that I had was really nice. But I don't know. I'm still a little bit confused by the brand. But good on them. They want so obviously a lot of people did like it. Next up, Red Spot. Now this is a bit of a strange one for me because it was the best pot still, 12-year-old and more, and I went to Red Spot 15. There's not an awful lot of choice in this category. There isn't 150 different bottles here to choose from. Red Spot, the Redbreast 21, Redbreast 27. Do you count some of the single cask Redbreasts? I don't know whether you do or not. And you're starting to know that there isn't any more to choose from. So you only have about 4 bottles thereabouts. So Red Spot's all right. I still prefer Yellow Spot. I still think Yellow Spot's the best in the Spot range, if I'm honest. But that's personal preference. But as I say, this category, there's not an awful lot of contenders for this. If you get the bronze in this category, it's just like, all right, okay, we've run out of other things to give.
I think your review of the Yellow Spot's one of our most watched videos on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it could be.
Remember to comment, like, and share. Tell your friends. We're live usually Saturdays 10 p.m. Tonight we're on Sunday night. I think it's Sunday night, and we've got to get the Iceland yet. So what's next?
Let's get on next. What's the next one? Drumshambo. It was the single pot still 11 year or less. Drumshambo Pinot Noir. Cask finish. Drumshambo again. One of these ones that are just quietly going about their business, doing some reasonably nice stuff. So yeah, good on them. Next up,
very interesting presentation on this Pierce one.
Pierce Lyons. This is a strange one. New Irish Whiskey winner 2023. Pierce Lyons. The presentation is lovely. There's a couple of weird things about this because I thought they won that last year. Did they not? And how can you be new Irish whiskey winner 2 years in a row? Do you know what I mean? Not really sure how that works. But the one thing about Pierce Lyons, if you haven't been to their distillery, get your arse to it because it is absolutely jaw-droppingly good. It's beautiful inside. Beautiful. Now, next up.
Next up is...
Oh, there we go. The perennial Dunville's best single malt, best single cask 12 year and above. Went to their 23-year-old Palo Cortado cask number 1204. Is there anything they do wrong? I don't think so. You can argue that some of the Dunville's blend, Three Crowns and the Dunville's blend. Okay, they're okay. They're not fantastic, But once you get to these guys, they just, they're stunning bottles of stuff. But yeah, so they won that. Next up.
Can't do it. Hold on, have to take it out and then do that. This is the Loch Ree.
Loch Ree, best green whiskey. Loch Ree, the bridge, Galley Bay, I think that's the way they pronounce that. Bottling some of the Loch Ree stuff. I've had a couple of them. I think 2 bottles over in here, and yeah, they're a nice distillery too. Going about, I haven't heard a huge amount about them for the last little while, but they're doing nice things. Next up,
we should have the last one, which is Connacht.
There we go. Best cask strength and overall winner for the whole of the Irish whiskey. Best cask strength whiskey. Best whiskey was the Connacht Distillery exclusive cask strength. Have not got to try this. Obviously, I haven't been down at the distillery. Must see if we can catch an invite down there. But yes, this is good on them. Nice new distillery, their own stuff at cask strength. And people seem to be raving about it. So, yeah, good on them. So that was the Irish Whiskey Awards. So all the winners, all the runners-up, all the bronze medals, and anybody who was there, whatever, good on you. Hope you had a nice time. So, yeah, I'm not, as we know, we can be a bit cynical about awards. But sometimes it's nice for people to get a pat on the back and say good job, well done, and people do like them. But it's always down to personal preference. Now, where are we going now, Justin?
You sent me another photograph, but I'm having difficulty bringing it to the screen.
Oh, sorry. You don't have to do it straight away. We'll get it later on.
All right. Okay.
But we're going to Iceland because I was over in Iceland. Now, I have to say, I was over working in a professional capacity. I was invited over by a company that I work for.
There you go. You're working hard there.
Now, that building. Now, before you start bringing up pictures, because save that for a wee bit, I'll explain that picture in a wee minute. Iceland's a very strange place. If you've never been, it's a mix of fire and ice because there's volcanoes everywhere. Everybody's, oh, you're going to be all right going in the airport because of the volcano. Icelanders couldn't give a shit. They're used to it. They couldn't care less. So fire and ice. It also sits where the Eurasian tectonic plate starts to pull away, and the North American plate. That's where they meet. And there's actually a little micro tectonic plate has formed whenever they're pulling apart. There's a little micro tectonic plate. It's not Europe or Asia. That in billions of years' time, that'll be a whole thing. Anyway, so it's a bit of a contrary, but it's got a very weird relationship with booze. Because in 1915, all prohibition in Iceland, you weren't allowed to drink. It was totally prohibited.
Right.
But then what happened was, because of this stuff, dried fish, the Spaniards who were buying lots of this said, if you don't take in our wines, our Madeira wine and whatnot, Spain and Portugal, if you don't take in our wine, we'll not buy your fish. And so Iceland had absolutely bugger all else to sell. They said, okay, what we'll do is we'll let in wine. So in 1922, wine was made legal. Everything else was illegal, but wine and fortified wine was made legal. Now, as always happens with these things, when you prescribe something, whenever you prohibit people from using stuff, what happens? Well, they either smuggle it in or they start to make it themselves. So, with no tradition of distilling, people were making distilled liquor, and it was awful. People were dying. They were making high-strength stuff that people were dying of, and all of this. So, in 1935, they made spirits legal. So, what are you doing now?
I'm trying to get it to work, but I can't get it to work. But anyway,
All right.
go ahead.
So, by 1935, beer was legal and beer was still illegal. Wine and spirits were legal, beer was still illegal. So, it wasn't until the 1st of March 1989 that beer was actually made legal. Okay, so they have a very weird sort of history of.
A lot of Scandinavian countries went like that, but
Yeah.
didn't they? And you can only buy it in certain places that are controlled by the government in some Scandinavian
No, I mean,
countries.
it's in some regards that's the same as some places in the States. But what you have is this sort of weird thing. But it's a bit of a strange relationship. I mean, it is just that's what it is. But beer was banned until 1989. The 1st of March now is National Beer Day, where everybody goes and has beer. Because apparently, at like 12 o'clock on the 1st of March 1989, people ran into these shops to buy beer. However, don't be in any mad rush to go in and buy a drink in Iceland, because is that expensive? Holy Jesus, is it dear? It's mad. I mean, it's nuts how expensive this stuff is. I sent you over that picture you brought up a minute ago.
That one, yeah.
That is what's described as the best whiskey bar in Reykjavik. Now, there's like 350,000 people live in Iceland. Half of them live in Reykjavik. So it's a big city, big-ish city. It's not a big city, but it's a big-ish city. And this is Dylan's, which is supposedly the best whiskey bar in Iceland. So, why would you not? Marty decided to pop his head in. Now, Marty went in. It was quite busy. Fair few people in it. Music hadn't started, but I went in. I ordered myself a bottle of beer and a local whiskey. I'll tell you about the distillery in a little bit. But I ordered myself a bottle of beer and a local whiskey. The whiskey's not like a 21-year-old Macallan or anything like this, right? So a bottle of beer, local beer, and a local whiskey. Price of such thing came up as £27. To be more accurate, £27.52. And that's on Revolut. I was like, what the fuck? Honest to God. Honest to Christ. It was £27.52 for a beer. And
But that's like London prices.
it's like Temple Bar at 1 o'clock in the morning. But this was just sort of normal prices. This was just a normal bar. It's just like that the whole way through. Now, I think I took a couple of other photos. Bring up the next one.
Yeah, we'll see.
So this is the sort of whiskey menu. So pull it up full screen.
That's as big as it gets.
As big as it gets. Now, for the eagle-eyed of you, if you can see this, down at the bottom, Yellow Spot, which is one of my favourite pot still whiskies, is on the bottom of the screen there. I've done the conversion just tonight to make sure that I got it right. Yellow Spot is 3,150 krona for just the 35ml measure. That's £18. So it's £18 for a Yellow Spot. Some of it is just horrendously expensive, but nice enough place. But I mean, the beer, they do happy hours every day. They take like 40% off between 4 o'clock and like 6 o'clock or something like that. But beer will still set you back £9 a beer. So yeah, it's London prices, Temple Bar at 1 o'clock in the morning sort of prices, that kind of thing. But it is what it is. The local whiskey is called Flocky. It's named after the first settler who came over in 868. It's named after him. And it's made up at the Emvik distillery, which opened back in 2009. Now, they make single malt, they make young malt, which is, they call it young malt, it's 2-year-old. They've done a sherry cask finish, a birch cask finish, birch being one of the only woods that actually grows in Iceland. One of the only trees, I should say. And then they've done a sheep dung finish, or sheep dung smoked. Now they say this is a traditional way of smoking stuff in Iceland. I haven't got to taste it because it was a sort of limited thing and it sold out. But I might not be in any great rush to go and taste it, to be quite honest with you. But Dylan's Bar did have a reasonable selection of stuff. It just is very, very expensive, very expensive. I'm going to put a tiny little bit of water in this. I don't think this needs a huge amount of water, but a little bit. I'll change that. So yeah, so that was us over in Iceland. But there's another story that popped up while I was over there.
Which is a very strange connection with here.
Well, it's always the same. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, whiskey always plays its part. There's always whiskey. If it's not whiskey, it's certainly booze, but whiskey always plays its part. Because when you go, I went and saw the Geysers, or the Great Geyser at Struckur. It's very hard to pronounce. I found out Gull in Iceland, in Icelandic, is pronounced Gulk. Gulk. That's why you ask for a beer. But if you ask, most of the people who are immigrants working in hospitality, so they don't actually speak Icelandic, which I think annoys the locals a huge amount, you know. But anyway, well, the Great Geyser at Strucker, hot springs in Iceland, surging, pop out the ground. Now, I saw them a couple of times. Holy shit. The Belgrove. I don't know whether John's taking the piss there or not. Anyway, the Great Geysers. I was standing there, blah blah blah, and next time, Mark Thompson sent me a thing. Mark Thompson, if you don't know, he's the guy behind the Dunvilles and Old Cumber labels. He sent me a thing, which I don't know how I didn't know this. Maybe I'd heard it, but I can't remember I did. The Geysers were actually owned by Lord Craigavon, James Craig, first Prime Minister of Northern Ireland, and whose dad was a director of the Royal Irish Distilleries in Belfast, the Dunvilles guys. He bought them. Now, apparently, what happened was he bought them of a farmer. A farmer was trying to sell them to the Icelandic government, these Geysers, and he then bought them. Now, there is an idea that he was going to use the warm water to produce whiskey, because whiskey obviously needs an awful lot of hot water. His father apparently went berserk because he did this when he was a young man. But he fenced it off, started charging people. But he owned those Geysers at a time. Because he went on holiday to Iceland, saw them, and bought them. Now, whether or not he had the idea we're going to produce whiskey, I don't know. But he fenced it off, had them, and decided that he was going to start charging people they can't see them. So yeah, everywhere you go, whiskey always makes an appearance, no matter what effort it is, what sphere, whatever it is.
I remember when we did our unusual whiskey stories, you know, where Norway and Canada are at it. How we didn't come across that is beyond me, but there you go.
Because the story we were doing that time was about whiskey areas, places that were named after whiskey and stuff. But yeah, honestly, so he owned them. The whiskey millionaire bought those Geysers, probably with the idea of producing whiskey up at them at one point. But yeah, Iceland, nice place, ferociously expensive. But stop off at the duty free on the way across, get yourself a bottle and take it with you. I took over airport exclusive Glen Scotia, which I bought at Edinburgh Airport, and I have to say it was very tasty. It was very tasty. I bought 2 bottles, and I can't actually remember what the second one was, which kind of tells you all you need to know about how good it was. Just like me and my little drinking buddy, the wonderful, wonderful Linda Mackay. he's just great wee woman to be about. Me and her merrily supped our way through drinking whiskey, looking at the northern lights. But yeah, So Iceland and Irish whiskey has a connection. They have a little distillery. They have a very nice whiskey bar. But make sure you've put pennies in your piggy bank before you went over. So
I have managed to get that photograph up. Shall we show it?
Go on ahead, show it up, because this appeared. Let's just say on Saturday, our Kit Charles brought in is wonderful, beautiful. Margaret came in to see us, and he took this photo of me, Ray, and Jim in the friend at hand, working our fingers to the bone. And to be honest, we weren't actually doing an awful lot, but we were having to listen to him, which is you don't get paid enough for that, to be honest.
Was he out Christmas shopping then?
He was doing a bit of Christmas shopping, but he was coming in to pick up his two bottles of cologne, I think he got.
Lovely.
So yeah, he got his cologne. He was moaning about the price, but sure, he's a County Antrim man, so I'm still suffering from, as I've been telling everybody, I've been suffering from open wallet surgery since I got back from Iceland. It's like, I paid him much for a beer. What?
But listen, most of the visitor attractions in Iceland are free, so you don't actually have to pay any. Most of them.
No, what? To be honest, I didn't have to pay for very much. I didn't have to pay mostly for the food or hotels or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I went to that famous hot dog stand. It's a hot dog stand.
But it's cheap. It's only a couple of quid. It's cheap. You can't complain. It's not expensive.
No. It's a beautiful place. If you ever get a chance to go and go. But as I say, it's one of them things. But yeah, there's our cat on. He does love Margaret. There's a lot to love about Margaret. She must have the patience of Job, to be honest. She must be deaf in at least 1 ear. Because if I was letting me have a cock of deaf, as the saying goes.
Very good. Very good.
What's John saying? I've been lucky enough to share a dance. It's a wonderful lady. Kit is a lucky man. He is. She's lucky too. Let's be honest, because he's a great catch.
There you go.
Is there any cologne left? What's the price? The price of a full bottle of cologne is $1.80, and if you're looking one, I would get your bum into the friend at hand when it opens on Monday. Who's in on Monday? I think Ray's in on Monday. Pop in and get one picked up if you're looking at it, because it's 180 quid, but it's the great. That's a really, really nice one. Really, really nice.
Ballymena man in Iceland.
Aye. Sure, there'd be worse than me in it, Atlanta. There'd be worse than me in it. It could be boys for Carrick and everything allowed in.
I went to Iceland just before lockdown, and it was absolutely the most unique place I've ever been. It was very, very good.
Did you go to the Diamond Beach?
The Black Beach with the
ice on it. The Diamond Beach with all the big lumps.
I went.
Do you know what I had? I forgot to take photos of. I just remembered. I went back to the hotel, and the Maria, who was the sort of big scary guide, she was very. People in Iceland are a little bit German, so it's a bit shouty at you times. Like, you must do this. Oh, okay, fair enough. Anyway, we're on this Diamond Beach where all this ice washes up, and it's crystal fucking clear. I mean, crystal clear. And she's packed off a big bag of it, brought it home, and I had 1,000-year-old, because the ice is at least 1,000 years old in the glacier, in my whiskey. So I did have a whiskey with a drop of ice in it. And it was
That's not good for global warming.
Oh no, it all breaks off. It's just breaks off. It goes out into the water and then comes out round in the beach. I'll tell you another thing too. I didn't realise this. It's one of them things you go, of course I should have knew that. On the south beaches of Iceland, there's nothing south of Iceland until you get to Antarctica. There's nothing. So the waves coming up, there's nothing to break them up at any point. So these fucking huge waves just crash into the beaches. And you've got all these dickheads who don't seem to realise that it's actually quite dangerous. You know, apparently there's a couple of guys last year. We're standing on the beach. I just this sort of freak wave come out, just grab them.
I know, I love it.
It's all these people running down, taking photos, and then they're standing getting photos. There's these fucking waves, like 70 foot, about 17-foot waves coming in over, and they're crashing. And you're like, if that thing hits you, if that thing comes up 10 feet further up the beach, you're going. But
That's right. I know.
nuts. But no,
I know.
beautiful place. Really, really nice place. So
It is.
yeah, thanks to CIE Tours for taking me over. Much appreciated. But yeah, it was really, really nice. But yeah, the whiskey scene in Iceland probably won't develop that much, just generally because of the sheer price of it.
I know. Look at that. There's plenty of drink on show there, isn't there?
Lots of bourbon in it. Lots of bourbon. Not far more bourbon than there would have been Scotch. Quite a few Irish whiskies in it. It was nice to see Short Cross. Our friends over at Short Cross were there.
Okay.
Obviously, there's spots with Jameson's there, and it's always there. There was a couple of Bushmills and whatnot, but yeah, it was a lovely experience. And Dillon's is the best whiskey bar in Iceland. And I was in a few bars. I wasn't being total cheapskate and not going to others. I was in quite a few bars. That was easily the best one.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to go to it, I'm going to put it up. Obviously, Dillon is an Irish name, and there's quite a few people from here out there I've come across over the years. So
Yeah.
there's Dillon's. Check it out. Live music on the 3rd floor, and yeah, great stuff. Great stuff, Marty. Another great show. I don't know how you managed to put them together so effortlessly, but Iceland was certainly an experience. It's fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic place, I have to say. But anyway, we're home. But I've gone to Edinburgh this week. I have to pop over to Edinburgh for a quick run, and then in Texas at the end of the month. Go and see Julie.
Great stuff. Night, everybody. Sorry for being on the wrong night, but could be helped. There you go. Should be Saturday next week. Fingers crossed, Marty. Should be.